Hey friends, welcome back to the Guitar Max channel, and just last week I made a video about the new changes to tariffs that are going to be coming soon and how this is going to affect the guitar market. However, just announced a couple days ago, even more new changes are going to happen with these tariffs, and all of this is going to result in Fender guitars coming out ahead. Okay guys, so I'm going to tell you how Fender in particular is going to benefit from the new announcement with these different tariffs, import tariffs and so forth. But just to kind of catch you up to speed, what's been going on lately is with the new Trump administration, Donald Trump has announced a whole bunch of these different tariffs that he's going to impose on other countries. And they're mostly talking about China and in some cases Canada, different places. And what this really amounts to is that there's going to be import taxes on countries that are importing their goods to the United States. Now, people are always arguing about this in the comments section, but the way the tariffs work is it is the responsibility of the country or the company in the other country to pay these tariffs in order to get their products imported into the United States. But what ultimately ends up happening is that increases the cost of selling those products in the U.S. And so the end retail price for the consumer usually goes up in the end. And in the last video, I was talking about how there's this additional 10% tariff that's going to be placed on Chinese goods. And that's going to make the price of Chinese-made guitars go up a little bit, but 10% was really not that bad considering how much it potentially could have gone up. Now, there was also other issues with this thing called the de minimis rule, which is going to impose other taxes, and it lowers the threshold considerably for what you could buy from another country and have it shipped in and not pay any taxes on it. Anyway, that's all in my previous video. But here's the big piece of news that just came out a couple days ago. Trump has announced that instead of all these different tariffs that he was going to impose on other countries, he's going to do reciprocal tariffs. And what this means is whatever tariff or tax that the other country is charging the United States, that is the same tariff that the United States is going to charge those other countries. So as an example, and this is just a generalized example, this is not an accurate number, but let's say theoretically China was charging the United States a 20% tariff. If that's the case, then the United States is going to charge a reciprocal tariff. So the same percentage, it's going to charge the same 20% for products coming into the United States from China. So what this really boils down to is that this is going to be bad for other countries which had high tariffs on the US, and it'll be good for countries that have low or in some cases no tariffs on the US. And here is where we get to Fender. A huge number of Fender products, both their guitars and their amplifiers, are made in Mexico. And Mexico has no tariffs on US-made products, which means the reciprocal tariff will be zero. So if you look at some of the popular countries for guitar manufacturing, guitars that are then sold in the United States, of course you've got China, you've got Japan, you've got South Korea, and Indonesia. All of those countries are charging tariffs to the United States. And so under this new reciprocal tariff policy, those countries will be charged tariffs in order to import their products to the United States. And it's all going to depend on how much the tariff that they're already charging is. And so all of those countries will be at a disadvantage compared to Mexico. And let's not forget that transporting goods from Mexico to the United States is much easier and less expensive than transporting stuff overseas. Now, I've got a few links to share with you really quick so you guys can read up on this stuff, all the little details yourself, and see where I'm getting my sources from here. I'm not going to go through all of this stuff on the video, but I want to, point out some things here. So this one here is the post that Trump just did on X recently, where he announces the reciprocal tariff policy. Now, there's also a great article over here on Forbes.com. It's called "Trump Says Value-Added Taxes Will Be Considered Tariffs. What to Know About His Reciprocal Tariff Plan." There's a lot of really good information in here, and I'm going to have a link for this down in the video description below. The other thing is, let's go over and look at the Sweetwater website and these are all of the different guitars and basses from Fender which are made in Mexico. And just look at this stuff. It's a huge number of products and a lot of really popular stuff too. For example, the Fender Jimi Hendrix Stratocaster, a lot of the signature models are made in Mexico. You also have the Fender Player series, which are really popular. Those guitars are made in Mexico. And a lot of the really popular amplifiers, like the Fender Blues Jr., also made in Mexico. So while we might expect to see some of the prices of imported guitars going up in the near future, Fender is not going to have those increases to their cost because of tariffs or import taxes. Now, this is only true for the Mexican-made Fenders. Of course, some of the Squires and things like that are made in China or India in some cases, and so those ones we might see an increase in those prices. But compare that to a company like Schecter, where the bulk of their production guitars are made in either South Korea or Indonesia. Those places are going to have some tariffs because of the reciprocal tariff policy. Now, obviously, this could change, but with this new policy that's just been announced, this is the effect that it's going to have. But of course, you know, a week from now, a month from now, there could be some changes again to a new tariff policy. So we'll have to see how it really shakes out. But right now, this is looking really good for Fender. Now, I want to tag on a few extra things here and answer a few questions that I've been getting in the comments section from some of my previous videos. And people are asking about a brand like Firefly guitars, right? Firefly, really popular, affordable guitars. I review them all the time. Tons of stuff in like the $200 range, really cool guitars and everything. People are asking like, well, are these tariff changes going to affect Firefly? And am I going to be hit with a whole bunch of taxes if I buy a Firefly? Or am I going to have to give my social security number to Firefly because it's a Chinese guitar? And I heard that you're going to have to give your social security number in order to be an importer for Chinese goods or something because of this whole elimination of the de minimis rule. Well, the short answer is a company like Firefly may be affected by the increase in the tariffs, but all the other stuff won't make much of a difference because when you, as the customer, buy a Firefly guitar, it's being shipped to you from a warehouse within the United States. So it's just, you know, as the customer, you are not importing anything. The company is doing all of the importing, so that's all on them. So with a company like that, I would expect the prices to increase to absorb whatever the increase of their cost is with the tariffs. But other than that, I don't expect to see too many changes. And when it comes to China specifically, I think the tariffs are going to be not as bad as we originally thought with Chinese guitars specifically. So you might be looking at an increase of 10%, 15%, something along those lines. Okay guys, so we'll see how this all plays out. But yeah, right now it's looking good for Fender. And if they do increase their prices, I don't think they can blame it on the new tariff situation because they are coming out ahead compared to pretty much all other guitar companies right now. But guys, let me know what you think about all this stuff down in the comments section below. Now, I'm going to have links for all of the original articles and stuff that I was talking about in the video. I'll have links for that down in the video description below. And yeah, let me know your thoughts, everything. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you very soon.